Have you ever felt the air grow so thick and heavy that it seems to envelop every corner of your being, as if something or someone is trying to claim your soul? Imagine a day when everything appears to come to a halt, where time itself fades away, and what you believe to be real begins to transform into living nightmares. This is the story of the Solstice fog, a tale that will take you to the edge of reality and confront you with unimaginable horrors. Every December 21st, as the sun sets and the longest night of the year begins, a thick and palpable fog creeps through the small town of San Miguel. The town's residents, accustomed to this phenomenon, close doors and windows and lock themselves in their homes, fearful of what they might encounter in the shadows. However, the fog is not just a whim of the weather. It is a prelude to something far more sinister. Since time immemorial, there have been tales of ancient creatures emerging from a dimensional portal, one hidden between the reality we know and a world of shadows that we wish we would never discover. These entities, shrouded in a mystery still not fully understood, seem to awaken with each solstice, reminding us of the fragility of our existence. It was a cold and silent night, one of those nights when every sound is amplified, and the crunch of leaves under your feet can seem like the whisper of a ghost. Luis, a young man with a curious spirit and a brave heart, decided to defy the warnings of the town's elders. Armed with his flashlight and an amulet inherited from his grandmother, he ventured into the thickness of the fog. The fog enveloped him, cold and dense, as he advanced with uncertain steps, seeking answers to the whispers resonating in his mind. As Luis ventured deeper into the mist, the sounds of the night began to fade, replaced by an ominous silence that could only mean one thing. He had crossed the threshold between our world and that of the shadows. His flashlight barely illuminated a few meters ahead, and every time he looked back, the path disappeared, swallowed by the fog. The whispers grew louder, clearer, as if something or someone was trying to communicate with him. Suddenly, Luis felt a presence behind him. He slowly turned, and what he saw froze his blood. Through the mist, blurry figures began to take shape, creatures that seemed to be plucked from the darkest legends of the town. Bright eyes and sharp claws emerged from the shadows, observing Luis's every movement. His heart pounded, and although every fiber of his being told him to flee, something more powerful kept him rooted to the spot. Luis remembered the stories his grandmother used to tell him when he was a child. Tales of ancient guardians of portals, beings that protected the balance between worlds. These guardians, however, were not always benevolent. Like humans, they could be corrupted by power and ambition. And now, those guardians seemed to be awakening, drawn by Luis's presence, an intruder in their domain. As Luis tried to comprehend what was happening, one of the creatures slowly approached him. It had the appearance of an ancient warrior, covered in rusted armor and with eyes reflecting an ancestral hatred. The creature raised its hand, pointing at Luis, and a voice resonated in his mind. "Why have you come here, mortal? This is a place your kind should not profane." Trembling, Luis gathered all his courage and replied, "I have come seeking answers. My grandmother's stories spoke of a hidden power, of a portal connecting worlds. I want to understand the truth." The creature observed him in silence for what felt like an eternity, and finally, it nodded. "The truth is not for the faint of heart," the voice echoed in his mind. "But if you wish to know it, you must be prepared to face the consequences." With those words, the creature vanished into the mist, and Luis felt the weight of the world fall on his shoulders. He continued walking, guided by a force he did not understand, towards the heart of the fog. As he advanced, the creatures watched him from the shadows, whispering amongst themselves in a language Luis could not comprehend. The fog grew denser, and the air grew colder with each step he took. Finally, Luis arrived at a clearing in the forest, a place where the fog seemed to recede, revealing an ancient altar covered in runes and unknown symbols. In the center of the altar, a crystal shone with a dim and spectral light. Luis approached cautiously, feeling a strange connection with the object. As he touched the crystal, a flood of visions inundated his mind. Scenes of ancient battles, forgotten rituals, and nightmare creatures. The visions revealed the truth Luis had longed to know. The dimensional portal not only connected worlds, but was also a gateway to unimaginable power. The Guardians were not just protectors, but also jailers, tasked with containing that power. But someone or something had begun to weaken the barriers between the worlds, and the fog was a sign that the balance was breaking. Luis realized he had to act quickly. If he did not find a way to restore the barriers, the shadow creatures would unleash chaos and destruction upon his world. With the crystal in hand, he understood that it was the key to closing the portal, but the cost would be high. He would have to sacrifice something of himself to seal the bond between the worlds. With determination, Luis began to recite the words that came to his mind, an ancient incantation resonating with the power of the crystal. The runes on the altar glowed with an intense light, and the fog began to swirl around him as if fighting to remain in the world. Luis felt a force trying to tear his soul apart, but he stood firm, focusing on the incantation. Finally, with a cry of sheer willpower, Luis sealed the portal, and the fog vanished, taking the shadow creatures with it. Exhausted and weak, he fell to his knees by the altar, knowing he had saved his town, but at a great cost. As he caught his breath, he heard the soft whispers of gratitude from the Guardians he had freed, promising to protect the balance between worlds. Luis returned to the town with the crystal, now lifeless and dark, as a reminder of the battle he had fought. He shared his story with those willing to listen, warning them of the power hidden in the fog and the importance of respecting the balance between worlds. His tale became a local legend, a story whispered by the fire, reminding everyone that there are forces in this world we should not underestimate. And so ends the story of the Solstice fog. If you enjoyed this tale, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment on what you thought of the story. See you in the next horror tale. Until next time,